My name is Halimah Muhammad. I graduated from Howard University. So, a little bit about myself. I am currently a math teacher in the heart of Chicago. I actually really enjoy working with young people. I feel like the way they love on you when you love on them is just something that's just like amazing about that. So, I definitely enjoy working with young people. I knew when I got into my 30s that my life was going to be together. So I was ready to turn 30. I was ready to get into my 30s and I was ready to just be stable. So at 31, January 18th, 2017, I was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. So I'm like, breast cancer, stage 3, this is a lot. This is a lot to take in. This was not part of the plan. So I just kind of gathered myself. I did 6 rounds of chemo. I had 2 surgeries. The chemo is a different type of beast. And I kept thinking, like, if I make it through chemo, I can make it through anything. I did not want surgery. I cried. I did not want surgery. I did not want them to put me to sleep. I did not want them to, like, operate on me. Like, that was just, like, a big fear that I have always had. However, I got through it. So 2018, I did some soul searching. I was like, I'm going to get me and God, we going to be right. Because this was something that I know for sure he saved me. So I wanted him to understand that I knew that and I was grateful for that. So I just got in tune spiritually. 2019, I did some more traveling. I made some new friends. I crossed into Delta Sigma Theta. I was like, okay, you know what? My 30s it's back on track. My life is definitely back on track and I'm ready, for what's to come. January 2020, I was diagnosed again. I was diagnosed again. I was hospitalized this time for 12 days, could not eat, could not walk. It was just a train wreck. And I was like, yo, this road is dark. They had pretty much said that the breast cancer had moved to my liver. Like, you can't just cut out your liver. You can't just remove your liver and continue on with life. So I was like, this is a dark road. And life came at me so fast. So I guess my question would be, how do you keep your faith in your darkest hour? Like, I feel like everybody has faith when you're getting everything that you're praying for, when things are coming together, when you're being shocked with blessings that you didn't even see coming your way. But this is a dark road. So it's like I beat it, and then it was like I got my life together and it was back on track, and now it showed up again. So I guess I just want to know, like, how can you truly, truly, truly keep your faith in the Lord doing this black road that I'm on?
This is where purpose becomes really, really hard, because it is most ideal for our light to shine in the places where we want our light to shine. And God gave you that with your calling to the kids. But there's an additional place that he wants your light to shine too. But it's like, how do I find the light that's in me in this dark place? And I think one of the greatest tasks that you're going to have within yourself, this is like an inner self thing, is, God, how does this light shine up in these lonely seasons, in these dark seasons? Because it's still there. It's there for other people. But this light has to show up in some places that you don't want to be and you don't want to go to. And I think there's some important things that I want you to know about God. God can use the fact that you're in this situation, but it was never God's intention for humanity to experience cancer or sickness or disease or murder or racism. That was never a part of God's plan. Eve in the garden, Adam and Eve, they jacked it up for the rest of us. They jacked it up. We have compassion though, because if we'd have been in their shoes, we'd have probably jacked it up for the rest of us too. And so we
That's
got
true.
separated from God's design for humanity. That idea that you have that I should kind of have the blessings and I should finally be in peace and I should finally have harmony. You and God are in agreement about that. That is what He designed for you to have. It's just the path to you getting there now requires you to go through some dark places that nobody wants to go to. And so,
Mm-hmm.
our job in being in relationship with God is finding a way to the light. Like, if I were preaching to you and I was going to have a sermon, I would call it Find a Way to Find Your Light. Find a way back to the light. Not when it's comfortable, not when it feels good, but when the darkness is threatening to take away your light. And I think that you're going through chemo, you're going through a lonely season, and you're going through this tunnel that is threatening to take away your light. But your light
Mm-hmm.
can't be taken away.
That's a good way to look at it.
Your light can't be taken away unless you decide I don't want it to shine, unless you decide that it hurts too much, it causes too much pain, it requires too much faith. I'm just going to allow myself to surrender to the darkness, then that light is still there. That means that there's a nurse or a doctor or another patient who needs to see that light that you are passionate about people having that light. I want people to have this light that's down on the inside of me, but I don't want to go to dark places. Well, your desire to serve is in contradiction to the places that God is
Mm-hmm.
calling you to. And I think that, like, I'm going to tell you something that I had to really learn. So, Woman Evolve, our conference, has had to be postponed to 2021, like everything else in the world, because of the pandemic. And to be honest, like, I wasn't feeling it because,
Mm-hmm.
like, I wasn't feeling it. Like, this is my third year going into the conference. I'm just now trying to figure out what I'm doing. I got my team, like, we started last year, like, the conference, 2019 conference was still going on. And I was planning 2020 conference because I just saw
Mm-hmm.
so many things that we could do better. I'm like, I need a team member here. I need to create structure here. This is what the environment needs to look like. We need to do this. And I had, sis, I was fitting it. You don't even understand how 2020 was going to be the year where I was like, boom, now what? Finally got our life together. It's organized, it's structured. There's your registration table. There's the Wi-Fi. We got water over there. Look at that worship popping. I was ready. And then Corona brought her big old hips over into my life. Okay.
Yeah.
And I saw my husband have to pivot the church overnight. So all of a sudden we're in person and now it's virtual. Meanwhile, I'm still praying like, God, Corona, be gone now. I'm not in the mood for it. Like, Father, bring the
Yeah.
healing, you know what I mean? I saw my dad have to pivot his church still. I'm like, whatever, Corona, be gone. Like, I was not canceling conference. Like, God's going to come through. God's going to show up for me. And then it just kind of became increasingly clear, like, God, you're not going to move this out of the way. I'm going to I'm just now figuring out what I'm doing. I'm just now getting my rhythm. I'm just now coming to a place where I feel confident. Like, why would you not? Like, I'm doing what you called me to do. Like, I'm not out here wilding.
Right.
Like, I'm doing what you called me to do. Like, how could you not come through for me like this?
Right.
But you know what? I realized, like, when I was praying about it, that, like, I felt entitled to skip suffering.
Mm-hmm.
I felt entitled to not have to sacrifice the way that I saw other people sacrificing. And so God had to really deal with me about this entitlement that I had for things to go the way that I wanted them to go, and for my hard work to pay off in the direction that I wanted my hard work to pay off in. And so I had to surrender to this idea of, okay, it's not what I wanted it to be. I am going to have to shift. I am going to have to pivot, and I'm going to have to find a way to trust God in the middle of the pivot. And to be
Mm-hmm.
just as excited about the pivot as I was about my plans. And that felt like putting on big girl draws.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just like it is, but I don't know if I'm
I
really
don't know if that's, I know that's your word, but I don't even know if that's going to be my word like that.
So I mean, because it's like you're trying, and then you try to stay so positive. You got the same friends that throw the little stuff out there. I'm like, girl, you ain't really going through nothing for
Right,
real.
right. You're fine.
Right. Okay, just keep drinking your water and mind your business. I'm over here really struggling. So I just think it's one of those, like, I really don't, you in it. And I think if I could just see the finish line, I'll feel a little better to run towards it. But it's like to not see the finish line, man, you just start getting dizzy. Like
Yeah.
in your head, you just starting to get like dizzy, and you don't know what to do first. Like, man, I want to keep running, but I'm kind of dizzy. And then it's like, is the race over yet? Like, what, So I just think that always plays in my head.
And I think because your personality is like a doer, this idea of I need to be running towards something, and right now I don't have anything to run towards, can be really, really frustrating. But I
Hmm.
wonder, do you think that it's possible that this isn't the running season, that this is the being season? So I really think that there's something to taking a minute to like pause and say to yourself, not just like while I'm fighting this disease, but also fighting the damage that I have in my relationship with God, that I maybe
Hmm.
have with my plans and my perspective. Like right now, you can't run because running would mean running on broken bones. And until we get
Hmm.
to a place where we really see, like, what has this communicated to me about God? What has this communicated to me about myself? Like, we don't have anything to run towards because it may not be that we're necessarily running towards just beating this disease, though, of course, we're going to do that. But I want to run to a place where I have peace in the middle of this disease. I want to run to a place where I can allow my light to shine in the middle of going through these chemotherapy sessions. But right now, we can't figure out what we're running towards because we don't know how broken we are on the inside.
That's true. That brokenness is real. I read your husband book the other day, and I was like, "Yo, that brokenness is it's a serious that's a serious disease
Yeah.
because you don't even realize that you're as broken as you are until you figure out that you got pieces all over the place." So that's true for sure.
Yeah, because you want to do something right now, and I think God wants you to become someone. And I think in the process of you becoming someone, I can tell, like, even right now, your countenance is kind of shifted because I feel like we're kind of going into something that makes you feel vulnerable and like not steady. And you're like, I don't really fool with that. So, like, I would rather be strong and fighting something than facing these areas of my life where I do have unresolved issues and I do have pain. And that's what you got to run towards right now.
That's I received that.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but I received
Yeah.
it.
Well, the thing is that like we don't like having to run towards those things because we don't know what we're going to find and we don't like not feeling in control.
Hmm.
And as long as we're doing, we can be in control. But when God removes us from being able to function the way we're used to functioning, we feel like we're losing control. And so we definitely don't trust God anymore because you've taken me somewhere that I don't even want to be. So I can't trust God and I don't want to trust caving into these emotions because what if I can't ever get out? But I just want to tell you
Hmm.
that there is a way out, that you do have to face them and confront them because otherwise you can't even be in good relationship with yourself or others until you take inventory of them, and suppressing them won't work. And so, but it is daunting, and so we have to take it piece by piece by piece.